So another lesson about Earth Day, and we've been learning about how to keep our Earth clean and healthy for the people that live here and for the plants and the animals that are on the Earth. So we're going to do a little job today called helpful or harmful, and it says tell whether each example is helpful or hurtful for our Earth. And over on the side are some different things that we can do. So the one up top here says planting new plants in your garden or community. So we have to decide if planting new plants around the place where we live is something that helps the earth or something that hurts the earth. So when I move this over, I'm going to put it on the helpful side because new plants are helpful for the earth. They are very good for the animals that live outside. Animals use plants as shelter, as a place to live sometimes. They use plants for food. People use plants for food. It's also good for the soil and good for the ground to have things growing in them and new seeds falling. And even when the plants die, it's called decomposition. It helps the soil get vitamins and nutrients that it needs. You have hopefully some seeds growing at home from a few weeks ago that you might be able to plant when they get big enough. So if we go back over, it says using a reusable bag to carry your groceries. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, how if we bring our own shopping bags to the store and we're able to use them over and over again, we are making less trash. So this is also something that is helpful. It is good to make less trash. We don't want more and more trash. The people don't want to be around the trash, and the animals don't want to be around the trash. So making less trash is helpful for our planet. Throwing newspapers away instead of recycling them. So think about it. Newspapers can be recycled. They can be made into something new. So if we throw them away in the trash can, they're not being recycled. They're making more trash. So this is hurtful. It's hurtful to throw away newspapers because they can be recycled and they can be made into something new. Leaving the water running for a long time. So if you go into the bathroom to brush your teeth and you turn the water on, but then you can't find your toothbrush, and you leave the water on the whole time you're looking around and opening the drawers and looking on the floor until you find your toothbrush, you are wasting water. All that water is going down the drain and it's not being used for something good. Now, it's okay if you are using the water to clean your hands or clean your body or clean your teeth, but if you are just leaving the water running while you leave the room or while you're looking for your toothbrush or not using the water, you are wasting clean water. There are some places where people don't have a lot of water to use, or they don't have water in their houses. They have to walk and bring water back to their house in a bucket. So if we save the water so that plants and animals and people all have enough to use, we are helping the environment. But when we leave the water running for a long time, we are wasting water, and that is hurtful for the environment. Recycling materials at home. So when we recycle, we use something over again, or it gets made into something new. Things like paper and metal and plastic and glass can be recycled. Recycling is helpful because it makes less trash. If we're not throwing things in the trash, if we're making them into something new, we'll have less and less trash on our planet. Starting a recycling club at school. So maybe teaching others how to recycle or helping with the recycling is a helpful thing to do. And I know we're not at school now, but you might be able to help at your house on trash day or recycling day by looking around and making sure that things are in the right place if they're getting recycled. Leaving the lights on at home when you leave the house. Now, when I go out or go somewhere at night and it's dark out, I do leave a light on by the front door so that when I come home, I can see where I am. But if I'm going somewhere during the daytime and my television's on and my lights are on, and I just leave the house and leave all those things on, and I think it's no big deal, I'll be back later. Well, that's called being wasteful. We are wasting electricity. Electricity is what runs the lights and the television and the different things in our house, and it has to be made at some kind of factory or electrical plant and sent through the wires to our houses. And a lot of times that makes pollution when those things are being made. So when you leave your car running for a long time, so if you are getting something at the store and your mom or dad stays in the car and leaves the car running the whole time while you're in the store, that is wasting the gasoline. That's putting smoke into the air and causing pollution. Same thing if we leave the lights or the television on when we're not using them, that is wasting electricity, which is causing pollution because it needs to be made in some kind of factory or plant somewhere. So this is hurtful for the environment. We can put it over here. Let's see, down at the bottom, using your water bottle one time and then throwing it away instead of recycling. So things that make more trash are hurtful. They are bad for the environment. If you are using cups or water bottles just one time, throwing them away and getting a new one every time, you are hurting the environment. You can recycle your water bottle, so it goes in the recycling can if it's made out of plastic or glass, something that can be recycled, and it can be made into something new. Or you can get a reusable water bottle that you can take home with you and clean and then use it again each day. So those are some ways that we can help the earth stay clean and healthy, and some things that hurt the earth, that are bad for it. Now, I did tell you yesterday a little bit about recycling, and here we get a chance to see about what happens at a recycling plant, how things get recycled. So we can watch this that shows what happens at a recycling plant.
Humans create 5 billion tons of garbage every year. Dumping it all into landfills is terrible for our environment. What's a better way to deal with our trash?
So what you just saw back there, if I go back a little bit, this is called a landfill. And it's where trash goes. When the trash trucks take it away from your house, it all gets dumped. It's like a big mountain of trash. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger all the time. You can imagine that nobody wants to live near there. No, the animals don't want to live near there. The plants and trees are not growing near there. So it's not very good to have this place that's full of trash all the time.
Our environment. What's a better way to deal with our trash? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. You probably already help by recycling at home and at school. In fact, 70% of our trash can be recycled. But what happens to all those materials that go in the bins after they get picked up?
I'm here at E.J. Harrison & Sons Gold Coast Recycling in Ventura, California. It's at places like these that your recyclables, like glass, plastic, paper, and metal, are sent every day. Let's take a look at the life cycle of your reusable trash. Let it go, Mario!
Tons of garbage each day goes up these conveyor belts where man and machine work together to separate everything into their appropriate categories. First to be separated is cardboard, a material that's easy to reuse again once it's cleaned up.
So what they're doing here is as the trash goes along that machine, the people are picking out the things that are cardboard first. So things that are paper, might be next, then maybe things that are glass. So they're going to show you how they separate each thing.
Next, comes paper. Newspaper, printer paper, and junk mail, which gets compiled here. Plastics.
Nope, that's not what I want.
Of all kinds get separated for later recycling, and glass is moved in this direction.
This is my favorite part. You know how two magnets that are similarly polarized will push away from each other, right? Well, this machine uses that same principle. Any metal that comes down the line, like an aluminum can, will be literally propelled into its own chute when it passes through the magnets. Watch.
So they use a magnet as the cans go by that are made out of a metal called aluminum. The magnet will suck them aside, and that's how they separate the metals.
Cool, huh? Thousands of pounds of cardboard are now in these cubes, all neatly separated and stacked, and ready for the next step.
Here at the new Indy Paper Mill in Ontario, California, 1,200 tons of used cardboard gets turned into brand new paper. It starts when the bales are dumped into giant pulpers, vats of hot water that mash everything up into a thick stew. It's here that any non-paper is removed, such as wrapping wire and plastics. Filters remove finer pieces of debris, including the printed inks, leaving as the end result pure liquid paper soup.
So you can see there they've mashed all the papers down and made it, it looks like a soup. That's what he called it, paper soup. After they pick all the ink off of it for printing and the plastics, it's just kind of soupy.
Gigantic pressers then begin the process of squishing together the pulp, which not only starts to form the new sheets, but also squeezes out much of the water, until finally the sheets go through 55 dryers, heated to 280 degrees, and it takes only a few seconds to remove the last remaining bits of moisture from the newly formed paper, which is then rolled into giant spoons. Those rolls then get cut into the size of paper New Indy's customers have asked for. The cut rolls are taped and banded closed, stored on top of each other, and the process is finally complete.
So that's a big roll of brand new paper.
And what about all that plastic that makes up so much of our waste? Well, most of it is not wasted at all. Companies like Talco Plastics in Long Beach, California, separate the bales of plastic on these.
So all the things that are made out of plastic, like detergent bottles when you get your laundry detergent for a washing machine, and plastic bottles that you drink water out of, and things that maybe your toys come in, are all mixed together here. So this is all different kinds of plastics.
Conveyor belts. An electric eye looks for the exact kind of plastic being recycled today and blows what it needs up these tubes faster than any human could. Next comes the grinder, which chunks everything into tiny parts. Those fragments still have some paper labels on them, so this louvered machine and its blowers automatically strip it all away, leaving just the plastic that gets washed and rinsed in these vats of hot water. Look at the difference between the clean and dirty plastic. Notice that the plastic is still all the colors of the rainbow? At the next stage, it all gets superheated and melted together. Just like when you mix all your markers or crayon colors, you get gray. The same thing happens here. The now gray plastic gets formed into pellets, which are boxed up and sent on their way to be formed into some newly made plastic object. The whole process took only an hour, but saved so much of our planet's precious resources.
Reduce, reuse, and recycle. It's a process that we are all responsible for. What started out like this has been refashioned into something like this. Brand new, ready to use, and recycle again. But You don't have to take my word for it. I'll see you next time.
Okay, so some things that are helpful and some things that are harmful and how we recycle.